The life and legacy of Thomas West, 3rd Baron De La Warr, a nobleman's journey through power, politics, and the early foundations of colonial America. Thomas West, the 3rd Baron De La Warr, lived a relatively short life, from 1577 to 1618. Yet, within those 4 decades, he etched his name into the annals of early American history. He was an English nobleman whose actions, both lauded and criticized, shaped the destiny of the nascent English colonies in North America. His pivotal role in the Jamestown settlement, the first permanent English colony in what would become the United States. At a time when the colony teetered on the brink of oblivion, his arrival and subsequent leadership provided a crucial lifeline. It's important to remember that De La Warr's story unfolds nearly 2 centuries before the War of 1812, placing him firmly in the era of initial exploration and colonization. His timely arrival and steadfast leadership offered a crucial lifeline that helped steer it away from total collapse. It's important to remember that Thomas West, 3rd Baron De La Warr, was not a figure of the American Revolutionary War or the War of 1812, but rather a pivotal character from an earlier chapter in history. His story unfolds nearly 2 centuries before the War of 1812, placing him firmly in the formative era of initial English exploration and colonization, when the foundation of what would eventually become the United States was still being laid in uncertain soil. In 1609, Thomas West, now the 3rd Baron De La Warr, received the appointment that would define his legacy, Governor of Virginia. He was entrusted with the survival and prosperity of England's fledgling colony in the New World. He arrived in Jamestown at a moment of profound crisis. The winter of 1609 to 1610, infamously known as the Starving Time, had decimated the colony's population. Disease, famine, and conflict with the native Powhatan Confederacy had reduced the colonists to desperate measures. Reports reaching England painted a grim picture. The colony was on the verge of collapse, with survivors contemplating abandoning the settlement altogether. De La Warr's arrival, therefore, was not just timely, it was a last-ditch effort to salvage England's ambitions in North America. He brought with him much-needed supplies, reinforcements, and a renewed sense of purpose. Upon assuming his role as governor, De La Warr immediately set about restoring order and establishing a functional system of governance. He understood that the colony's survival depended not only on material provisions but also on discipline and structure. To achieve this, he implemented a series of strict measures. Central to his approach was the enforcement of the laws divine, moral, and martial. This was a harsh and uncompromising code of conduct. It prescribed severe punishments for even minor offenses. While controversial, these laws were intended to instill discipline and prevent further chaos within the colony. The laws divine, moral, and martial dictated every aspect of colonial life, from religious observance to work schedules. Dissent and disobedience were met with swift and often brutal consequences. While modern sensibilities may recoil at the severity of these laws, they were undeniably instrumental in stabilizing the colony during a period of extreme crisis. De La Warr's governorship was also marked by significant conflict with the Powhatan Confederacy. This powerful alliance of Algonquian-speaking tribes controlled the territory surrounding Jamestown. The relationship between the English settlers and the Powhatan was fraught with tension from the outset. De La Warr, believing that asserting English dominance was crucial for the colony's survival, adopted a more aggressive stance towards the Powhatan. He led military expeditions against them, aiming to secure resources and expand English control. These actions, however, only served to escalate tensions and violence. The conflict with the Powhatan Confederacy had a devastating impact on the native population. Villages were raided, crops were destroyed, and many Powhatan people were killed or displaced. While De La Warr and his contemporaries may have viewed these actions as necessary for the survival of the English settlers, they represent a dark chapter in the history of colonial America. De La Warr's tenure as governor of Virginia was relatively short-lived. In 1611, just a year and a half after his arrival, he was forced to return to England due to illness. The harsh conditions and constant stress of colonial life had taken a toll on his health. The unforgiving climate, combined with the relentless demands of leadership, the scarcity of food, and the ever-present threat of conflict with indigenous peoples, had all taken a severe toll on his physical and mental well-being. Despite his early departure, the impact of his brief governance set important precedents for future colonial leadership and helped ensure the colony's survival during one of its most precarious periods. Despite his brief time in Virginia, De La Warr remained committed to the colony's success. He attempted to return to Virginia in 1618, but tragically, he died at sea during the voyage. His death marked the end of an era in the early history of English colonization in North America. Despite his relatively short life and time in the New World, his legacy endures. The colony of Virginia was named in his honor, a testament to his perceived importance in its early survival. Furthermore, the Delaware River and the state of Delaware also bear his name, solidifying his place in American geography and history. His story is complex and multifaceted, marked by both strong leadership and brutal conflict. It reflects the immense challenges and moral ambiguities of early colonial life. De La Warr's actions, viewed through a modern lens, raised difficult questions about the nature of colonization, the treatment of indigenous populations, and the pursuit of empire. His legacy serves as a reminder that history is rarely simple or straightforward. It is a tapestry woven from threads of courage, ambition, violence, and sacrifice. De La Warr challenges us to look beyond the surface of historical narratives, to grapple with the realities of empire building, the costs of exploration, and the duality of leadership that can both inspire and oppress. His story, like so many from the early colonial era, invites reflection on the enduring impact of those who shaped the foundations of nations, for better or worse. Understanding the life and legacy of Thomas West, 3rd Baron De La Warr, is essential for comprehending the complex and often troubling origins of the United States. He was a figure of his time, a product of his society, and his story continues to resonate centuries later. Thanks so much for watching and being part of this journey through history and storytelling. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.